Beyond the grand dome of St. Peter's Basilica and the throngs of tourists in the square lies a city-state shrouded in layers of history, secrecy, and power. This is the Vatican, the smallest independent state in the world, yet its influence has shaped empires, defined cultures, and guided the faith of over 1 billion people. But what secrets are locked away within its ancient walls? What stories are hidden in the shadows of its magnificent art? Today, we journey into the heart of the Vatican, peeling back the layers to uncover its hidden history. Our story doesn't begin with grand basilicas, but in a chaotic, sprawling Rome. The early Christians were a persecuted sect, their faith practiced in secret catacombs. The very ground on which the Vatican stands was once a Roman circus, a place of spectacle and martyrdom, including, tradition holds, the crucifixion of St. Peter himself. It was over his supposed tomb that the first shrine was built, a humble beginning for what would become the epicenter of Western Christianity. The leap from a simple burial site to a global powerhouse began with Emperor Constantine in the 4th century. His conversion legitimized Christianity, and he commissioned the original St. Peter's Basilica. Suddenly, this once persecuted faith had imperial backing. The Bishop of Rome, later known as the Pope, gained immense prestige and land. This was the birth of the Papal States, a vast territory in central Italy ruled directly by the popes for over 1,000 years. This wasn't just a spiritual role anymore. The Pope was a king, a feudal lord who commanded armies, waged wars, and engaged in the complex, often brutal politics of medieval Europe. This era saw the Vatican's power reach its zenith. Popes crowned emperors, launched crusades, and excommunicated kings who defied them. The papal court was a hotbed of ambition and intrigue, mirroring any royal court in Europe. Families like the Borgias and the Medicis vied for the papal throne, not always for spiritual reasons. The papacy of Alexander VI, a Borgia, for instance, is legendary for its corruption, nepotism, and political maneuvering. It was a time when the sacred and the profane were deeply and often scandalously intertwined. The Vatican wasn't just leading souls, it was building an empire on earth. But with great power comes great challenges. The lavish spending of Renaissance popes who commissioned masterpieces from artists like Michelangelo and Raphael to glorify God and themselves required enormous sums of money. This led to practices like the sale of indulgences, essentially paying for the remission of sins. This became a major point of contention, sparking a firestorm of protest. In 1517, a German monk named Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses to a church door, igniting the Protestant Reformation and shattering the unity of Western Christendom forever. The Vatican's absolute authority was no longer absolute. In response, the Vatican launched the Counter-Reformation. This was a period of intense internal reform, spiritual renewal, but also of consolidation of power. The Council of Trent redefined Catholic doctrine, and new religious orders like the Jesuits were founded to spread the faith and counter Protestantism. This era also saw the strengthening of the Roman Inquisition, a powerful institution tasked with rooting out heresy. The trial of Galileo Galilei, forced to recant his scientific finding that the Earth revolved around the sun, became a famous and for many infamous symbol of the perceived conflict between faith and reason that the Vatican had to navigate. Let's step inside one of the Vatican's most mysterious institutions, the Vatican Secret Archives. The name itself conjures images of forbidden knowledge and hidden conspiracies. The reality is both more mundane and more fascinating. Renamed the Vatican Apostolic Archive in 2019 to sound less secretive, this is not a library of dark secrets, but the central repository for all acts promulgated by the Holy See. It contains millions of documents spanning 12 centuries, papal bulls, letters to kings, records of diplomatic correspondence, and transcripts of trials, including the one against the Knights Templar in the 14th century. While not open to the general public, qualified scholars can access these records, offering an unparalleled window into the Vatican's historical role in world affairs. It's less Dan Brown and more diligent, painstaking historical research. The 19th century brought a dramatic shift. The tide of Italian nationalism rose, seeking to unify the peninsula into a single nation. This movement saw the Papal States as an obstacle. In 1870, Italian troops marched into Rome, effectively ending the Pope's temporal rule. Pope Pius IX declared himself a prisoner in the Vatican, refusing to recognize the new Kingdom of Italy. For nearly 60 years, popes remained within the Vatican walls, a self-imposed exile. This standoff, the Roman question, was only resolved in 1929 with the Lateran Treaty, signed with Mussolini's government. This treaty established the Vatican city-state as we know it today, an independent sovereign entity ensuring the Pope's complete independence from any secular power. In the 20th century, the Vatican found itself navigating the treacherous waters of 2 world wars and the Cold War. The role of Pope Pius V during World War II remains a subject of intense debate. Critics accuse him of public silence on the Holocaust, while defenders argue he worked behind the scenes to save hundreds of thousands of lives, believing a public denunciation would have resulted in even worse reprisals. The archives from his pontificate are only recently being fully opened to scholars, and the full picture of the Vatican's complex diplomatic and humanitarian efforts during this dark chapter is still emerging. After the war, the Second Vatican Council, or Vatican II, in the 1960s, represented one of the most significant shifts in the Church's modern history. Convened by Pope John XXIII, it aimed to open the windows of the Church and let in some fresh air. It led to major reforms. Mass was now celebrated in local languages instead of Latin. The role of lay people was emphasized, and a new dialogue was opened with other religions. It was a monumental effort to adapt the ancient institution to the realities of the modern world, a process whose impact is still being felt and debated within the Church today. From a simple tomb to a global institution, the history of the Vatican is a dramatic tapestry woven with threads of faith, power, art, and politics. It's a story of saints and sinners, of immense spiritual influence and very worldly power. It reflects the great movements of Western civilization itself, its triumphs, its conflicts, and its endless quest for meaning. The story is far from over. As the Vatican continues to navigate the challenges of the 21st century, its hidden history serves as a powerful reminder of its resilience, its capacity for change, and its enduring place on the world stage. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. If you found this exploration into the Vatican's hidden history as fascinating as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the stories that shaped our world. Let us know in the comments what piece of Vatican history you find most intriguing. We'll see you in the next video.